Welcome back to the East Gymnasium at Fort Lee High School. We are once again underway. This is our third stream and match of the morning as Fort Lee takes the early advantage against Mahwah. Tommy Aquilino welcoming you back here into the East Gymnasium. Fort Lee defeating Emerson in 2 sets. Then Emerson took on Mahwah. Emerson got that win in 2 sets. Mahwah now wrapping us up against Fort Lee and tying this one at 1. Mahwah getting the chance to serve. The Thunderbirds entered the day 0-6 on the year. And after their loss to Emerson, they are now 0-7. And Fort Lee will take a 2-1 lead. Samantha Song serving for the Bridgman. John Ziemba's squad coming away with the victory earlier this morning. It is still the morning. Fort Lee now 5-3 on the year and on a 2-match winning streak. Looking to make it 3. Sarah Wong into the net, and that ties us at 2 here in the first set. Samantha Song setting up Lorelei Gomez. The Thunderbirds have an answer. No, they don't. Too many hits and give Fort Lee a 3-2 lead. Gomez again, a little too strong on that one, and so we are tied at 3. Fort Lee beating Emerson in 2 sets, 25-14 and then 25-12 to improve to 5-3 on the year. Now hosting Mahwah. Olivia Kim sends it over. Mahwah looking to answer. Kept alive there by Watanabe. And Gomez with the soft touch, make it 4-3 Fort Lee. John Ziemba will make a substitution. Going to make a couple substitutions, actually. Gomez and Plout will come off in favor of number 4, Margaret O, and number 3, Luna Shigahara. And it is Shigahara serving here with Fort Lee with the 4-3 advantage. Wong keeps it alive. Now Shigahara sending it over. Samantha Song was waiting to see if that one would hit her net or not. It did, and so Mahwah has knotted this one up at 4. Plout comes back on, the libero for John Ziemba's squad. Her counterpart on Mahwah, as opposed to wearing navy, wearing blue, is Angelina Oliveira. Sarah Wong will get credit for the kill. 5-4 Fort Lee. Now it's going to be the senior Sarah Wong serving as Fort Lee looks to extend their lead here. In both matches against Emerson, things started off fairly close, and then Fort Lee pretty quickly began to pull away. We'll see if that happens against Mahwah. The Thunderbirds, again, winless on the year, but hanging tough here, and John Ziemba is going to call a timeout. 5-5 here at the East Gymnasium, and this will give us an opportunity to thank our proud Fort Lee Bridgman Athletic sponsors. The Fort Lee PBA, Cafaso's Fairway Market, The Finest Construction, the Fort Lee Soccer Club, Rusin and Doru Electric, the Bridgman Basketball Camp, the Fort Lee VFW, Visions Federal Credit Union, It's Greek to Me, Connect One Bank, the Bergen Black Sox, Senator Builders, and UCS Strength and Speed. Thank you to our proud sponsors. Thank you for tuning in, hopefully not once, but twice, or maybe even 3 times here on a Saturday morning, soon to be afternoon. The Fort Lee Bridgman and the Mahwah Thunderbirds, with 2 of my favorite names for schools in high school sports, knotted at 5 here in the first match. No longer. Oliveira sends it right into the net. So that'll make it not 6-5 Mahwah, but 6-5 Fort Lee. And now Sydney Kim to serve for the Bridgman, and Sydney Kim will pick up an ace. So I believe that should make it 7-5 in favor of Fort Lee. And back-to-back aces for Sydney Kim. Now making sure that the score is correct. And so, yes, instead of 7-6 Fort Lee, it is 8-5 in favor of the Bridgman here in this first set. Oliveira briefly kept that one alive, but Mahwah unable to get it over the net. So another point for Fort Lee, another serve coming for Sydney Kim. The Thunderbirds get this one over. Wong setting up a teammate. That was Margaret O, and Mahwah has no response. So it was 5-5. Now all of a sudden it's 10-5 Fort Lee. Sydney Kim still doing her thing. She entered not this match, but the day before the first match for Fort Lee with 3 aces on the season. Fort Lee has now extended their lead to 11-5. Wong setting up O. Good block and a kill there for Mahwah. I believe getting up for the return block was Abby Kempkes, number 10, for Mahwah. Caitlin Yeck's team going 6-17 in the 2024-25 school year. After their loss to Emerson, 0-7 on the year, they have made this one 11-7 now. And number 5, Maddie O'Connell, doing the honors on the serve. Sarah Song setting up O, or Samantha Song, I should say. No response for Mahwah. 12-7 Fort Lee. And after getting that point for the Bridgman, O will sit in favor of Lorelei Gomez. Bella Plout to serve again. Wouldn't call that a spike right there, but it does lead to a Mahwah point. So the Thunderbirds trying to keep this one close. They now trail 12-8. Number 2, Samantha Castellano, will step on and do the serving. Wong setting up Song. And is that out of play? No, it's not. Give Song a kill, give Fort Lee a 5-point lead. And now Song heads to the back to do the serving. A Saturday morning turned afternoon. The Bridgemen leading the Thunderbirds 13-8. This is the third match of the day, second for each team, and Wong sends it out of play, making it 13-9 in favor of Fort Lee. They won their first match of the day, so Fort Lee looking to make it 3 wins in a row. Song for Gomez. Samantha Yeager went for the kill. She does not get it. Gomez gets it over. Yeager came into this one leading her squad, or came into the day leading her squad in digs and kills. Fort Lee will get the point there. It's 14-9. Sydney Kim will sit. She is replaced by number 2, Olivia Kim. Doing the serving now is Anela Watanabe. She did a fantastic job in that role in Fort Lee's first match. Gomez, Song, back to Gomez. Yeager has a response. Song tried to keep it alive. It goes out of play, and so it's 14-10 now in favor of the Bridgemen. Mahwah gets it back, and it'll be Vivienne Kesmarski, number 3, doing the serving now for Caitlin Yek. Just enough there to get over the net. Kesmarski will get credit for an ace. It's a 3-point game all of a sudden. Gomez comes out. Number 12, Sonia Yurchenko, steps on for John Ziemba's squad. We'll have a brief pause as a Thunderbird ties her shoe. Back underway, Yurchenko. The kill. 15-11 Fort Lee. Margaret O steps back on. Plout will sit. Yurchenko will also sit so that Shigahara can come back on and do the serving. Wong for Olivia Kim. Mahwah's libero has an answer. Yeager gets it over. Setting up for Kim again. She steps back and gets it over the net. Now Wong setting up for O. The Thunderbirds set up for Yeager. Song has a response. I believe that was number 18, Eliza Cadestin, going over the net to try to block Fort Lee's attempt. He can't do that, so Fort Lee gets the point. They are up 16-11. Shigahara serving, and is she going to get an ace? No, she will not. Yeager gets it over. Wong for Olivia Kim. Now they set up Cadestin, who gets the kill. Make it 16-12. They're winless on the year, but Mahwah is hanging tough. Both matches, or both sets rather, even though they lost both of them to Emerson, were close. I believe the first one was 25-21. And Mahwah trailing by just 4 now. Make it 3. An ace for Samantha Yeager. So it's 16-13. The Thunderbirds will not go away here in this first set. Yeager put a little bit too much on that one, so Fort Lee will serve again as they lead 17-13. It'll be the senior Sarah Wong for John Ziemba's squad. Setting up Olivia Kim. Block attempt failed. Oliveira, her teammate committed an infraction, I believe. That would have been just the third hit, so I think Mahwah did something they're not allowed to. Point Fort Lee. Wong to serve again. It should be 19-13 now, and she'll get credit for an ace. So now it's 19-13. Wong sends that one right into the net, so another opportunity here for Mahwah as they trail by 5 now. Cadestin will be replaced by Kempkes for Caitlin Yeck's squad. Oliveira doing the serving. Wong is going to set up Olivia Kim. Oliveira has an answer. Good dig for her. She sends it over. Gomez to Wong. Song with the kill. 20-14 Fort Lee. Olivia Kim will sit. Sydney Kim will come back on, and she will do the honors here serving. Jaeger keeps that one alive. Mahwah gets it over. Song setting up. Oh, who tips it over the net for the point? Now a 7-point advantage for Fort Lee. And a timeout taken by Caitlin Yeck. Again, Mahwah 0-7 on the season. They are in the Big North Patriot Division, and they came into today 0-4. Fort Lee came into this one 4-2, or no, I lied. Fort Lee came into this one 3-0 in the Big North American Division. Now 5-3 on the season, winners of 2 straight. At Holy Angels yesterday, here at home against Emerson today, looking to make it 3 in a row, and then they'll be back in action on Monday, hosting Leonia. Fort Lee looking to protect their house. They have a 7-point lead to work with. Sydney Kim doing the serving. Wong setting up O. She spikes it into her own net. So it's 21-15. Who's going to serve now for Mahwah? It's going to be number 5, Maddie O'Connell. Samantha Song, it's going to go back to O. Oliveira keeps it alive, only briefly. 22-15 Fort Lee. And it's the Libero's turn to serve once again. Bella Plaut with the assist, or the ace rather. Two points away from a first set taken for Fort Lee. Plaut let it go, and that was the smart play. Match point coming up for Fort Lee. Plaut came into this one, this day, not this particular match, with 4 aces on the year and a team-high 109 digs. She'll get the ace there. Mahwah can't get it over the net. So after taking their 2 sets against Emerson, 25-14 and 25-12, Fort Lee takes their first set against Mahwah, 25-15. And the second set will be coming up momentarily. Fort Lee looking to sweep and make it 4 for 4 in sets today. This is their 9th match of the year, second today. They still have yet to have a match go to 3 sets. All 5 of their wins and all 3 of their losses were in just 2. Mahwah hung tough there for a while, but ultimately they wind up losing the first set 25-15. As we wait for the second set between these two programs, we want to thank our Fort Lee Bridgman Athletic sponsors, the Fort Lee PBA, Cafaso's Fairway Market, the Finest Construction, the Fort Lee Soccer Club, Rusin and Doru Electric, the Bridgman Basketball Camp, the Fort Lee VFW, Visions Federal Credit Union, It's Greek to Me, Connect One Bank, the Bergen Black Sox, Senator Builders, and UCS Strength and Speed. John Ziemba's Fort Lee Bridgman volleyball team, 5-3 on the year. They beat Emerson this morning. The Mahwah Thunderbirds, 0-6 coming into today, before a loss to Emerson in 2 sets. So to start things off for the second set, John Ziemba's going to go with Yurchenko, Song, Watanabe, Wong, Sugahara, and Plout, who will do the serving to start this one off. Libero usually going first. She does here. Didn't look pretty, but Mahwah does get it over. Now it's Miley McHale picking up the kill. So Mahwah takes the 1-0 lead here in the second set. They have to win this one and then the next one in order to get their first victory of the season. Nice dig there by Song on a low serve. Wong and Song setting up for Yurchenko. Too much air underneath that one. 2-0 lead for Mahwah. A lot of space there. Wong filled the gap. Fort Lee gets it over. Now Kempkes went for the spike, and she slammed it into her own net. 2-1 Mahwah. Song for Watanabe, who will get the kill. Oliveira had no response for that one. It's 2-2. Number 15, Haley Suh, recently stepped onto the court. Right now it is Song serving for John Ziemba. Yeager kept that one alive. McHale has to send it over. She does. Not enough on that one. Mahwah comes away with the point. 3-2 Thunderbirds. Mikhail will sit. And doing the serving now will be Samantha Castellano. Yurchenko keeps it alive. Sent over by Watanabe, and she'll get credit for the kill. Oliveira slid, but could not keep it alive, so it's 3-3 now. Olivia Kim comes back in. Sugahara is subbed out, and the freshman phenom Watanabe to serve. Good serve there, and it'll be an assist. The ace for Watanabe, who came into the day leading Fort Lee with 6 of them. She's added to that total today. Yeager. Plout. Setting up her teammate, but the block was made by Kemkes. That was Haley Suh sending it over. Kemkes blocked it, gives Mahwah the point, and now she will do the serving. 4-4. Song setting up Yurchenko. Yeager. Yurchenko. Nicely done there by Mahwah. They keep this one alive. Olivia Kim going to try to end it. Another response by Mahwah. Song for Suh. Kadestin tried to get it over. Yeager did. Yurchenko kept it alive. Kemkes setting up Yeager, and she tried to hit it backwards. She was unable to. One of the better volleys we've seen so far today. Fort Lee comes away with the point. They now lead 5-4. And now it's Sydney Kim doing the serving and coming away with an ace. Now 6-4 in favor of Fort Lee. Make it 6-5. And now John Ziemba will sub Kim out in favor of Bella Plout. And it's sent right to her. Contested at the net. And Mahwah comes away with the point. Number 6, Tavisha Jane, recently into this one. Vivienne Kesmarski doing the serving for Mahwah as they've tied this one at 6. They're going to set up Jane again. Oliveira keeps it alive. Yeager sending it over. Jane to Watanabe. Back to Jane. Point Mahwah. So the Thunderbirds take the lead. Jane will sit as Margaret O comes back on. Oliveira setting up her teammate. Grazed the net. Landed in play for a Mahwah point. Now Sarah Wong will come back into this one as Haley Suh takes a seat. Kesmarski still serving here for Mahwah. Oh, went for the spike and didn't get it. So a 3-point advantage for Mahwah. And quickly back down to 2. Now Caitlin Yeck makes a substitution. Number 21, Avril Crow, steps on, and Wong to do the serving for Fort Lee. Kept alive by the Thunderbirds. They get it over. Wong setting up Olivia Kim, who kills it. 9-8 Mahwah now. They set up Cadestin. Bella Plout keeps it alive. Song with the kill. Samantha Song has tied this one at 9. And Fort Lee will try to retake the lead. They set up Jaeger right into the net. Plays like that are why Jaeger leads the team in kills, but Fort Lee comes away with the point there. And after trailing 9-6, they've retaken the lead. Song will set up Olivia Kim. And Mahwah not going away. We're tied at 10. Mikhail on, Castellano off. And Samantha Jaeger to serve for the Thunderbirds. Olivia Kim is met by Cadestin at the net. The block and the kill for Eliza Cadestin. Song keeps it alive, sent over by O. They set up Jaeger. Wong for Samantha Song. Now it's Oliveira setting up a teammate. Olivia Kim tried to meet Maddie O'Connell at the net, but was unable to. So Mahwah now leads by 2. A shoe has been laced back up, and we're ready to go again. Same team action there for Fort Lee. So Mahwah went up by 3. Fort Lee answered with 4 points in a row. Now Mahwah has scored 4 in a row to go up by 3 yet again. Remember, they have to win this set and then the next one in order to come away with the victory. Jaeger. Good response by Fort Lee. Jaeger. Wong keeps it alive. Plout got it over. Now it's Wong. Rolls off the net. Stays alive. And I believe that was Mikhail getting it over. Plout dove to keep it alive, but Mahwah has scored 5 in a row to take a 14-10 lead, and John Ziemba is going to call a timeout. Like I said, Mahwah has played better than their record so far today. A couple close sets against Emerson, losing the first set to Fort Lee 25-15, but now already 14 points here in the second set. Fort Lee has not had a match this year that went all 3. Quick timeout for John Ziemba and company. Samantha Jaeger is still doing the serving for Mahwah. Wong gonna set up Bella Plout. Maddie O'Connell, but it was saved by Watanabe. O gets it over. Jaeger kept it alive with one hand, and then she sent it over. She'll get the kill. Wong sent it to the referee, so point Mahwah. They've matched their total from the first set. Jaeger, a team high 14 kills, coming into the day. Song setting up O. It's Watanabe who gets to that one. Song sends it over. Jaeger. Plout let it go, and it's a point for Fort Lee. 15-11. And now Shigahara will step on and do the serving. Olivia Kim will sit. They set up Kadestin there. Watanabe and O keep it alive. And they come away with the point. Song sent it right into the corner. And it's 15-12 Mahwah now. Low serve, too low. So Mahwah has exceeded their point total from the first set, but it's not enough. They need 9 more points. And then they need to win the third set. Oliveira to serve. Wong gets low to keep that one alive. Margaret O. Now they set up Mikhail. Over the head of Plout. So it's 16-13. And Plout will serve for Fort Lee. Just barely kept alive there by Jaeger. Yurchenko. Plout. Watanabe gets it over. Jaeger keeps it alive for the Thunderbirds. Now she'll spike it right into her own net. So it's 16-14. Plout gets to serve again. She entered the day with 4 aces and a team-high 109 digs. That was, of course, before Fort Lee's victory over Emerson. 16-15 now. Plout and the Bridgemen will look to tie this one. Kemkes, Plout can't save it. 17-15 Mahwah. A lot of runs so far in this one. Mahwah halted Fort Lee's there. So now they lead by 2. And it's going to be O'Connell serving. Bad serve. Right back to Fort Lee. And it'll be Watanabe doing the honors with Fort Lee trailing by 1. Or rather, that was Song, I lied. Watanabe was at the net for the block. She didn't have to block anything because Mahwah sent it into their own net. So we're tied at 17. And it'll be Samantha Song again. Mikhail gets it over. Song sets up Watanabe. Line judge says that'll go to Mahwah. So it's 18-17 Thunderbirds. Castellano will come back on and do the serving. Watanabe with the soft touch. Jaeger keeps it alive, and now she'll go for the kill. She doesn't get it. Plout setting up Yurchenko. Now they set up Kemkes. Too much. Ball goes into our area over here. We're tied at 18. Watanabe to serve. O'Connell sends it out of play. Fort Lee has retaken the lead. Now Mahwah really has to bear down. They've played the Bridgman close, but Fort Lee has the lead, only 6 points away from a second victory today. Yeager goes down, gets back in the play, and sends it over. Now Song setting up Olivia Kim, who gets the kill. Or maybe she doesn't? No, she doesn't. We play on. So Fort Lee celebrated mid-play. I don't know how Yeager kept that one off the court. John Ziemba doesn't either. Okay, so Fort Lee does not have the lead. We are tied at 19. And as John Ziemba laughs on the sideline, Mahwah to serve. They're going to set up not Olivia Kim, but Yurchenko. Yeager. Oh, it went over the net. Plout has to send it over. She does. Kadestin will get the kill. So it looked like Fort Lee was going to go up 20-18. Instead, it's Mahwah that now has a 20-19 lead. Still a lot of volleyball to play in this one. Wong kept that one alive. 2 players met at the net. We play on. Yeager. Watanabe, it's going to be Yurchenko sending it over. A little bit of miscommunication there by the Thunderbirds. So we are knotted at 20. Margaret O will come back on. She'll replace Plout. It's Sydney Kim serving now for Fort Lee. But Mahwah is going to come away with a point on that one. O and Wong were right by the net. They could not get it over. So Sydney Kim comes right back off. Plout right back on. Kesmarski right into the net. Can't afford to do that when you're playing a good team in a close match. So it's now 21-all. Wong to serve. Remember, you have to win by 2 in volleyball sets. Kept alive by Watanabe. Samantha Song will get the kill. Sent out of play by a Thunderbird. Fort Lee has retaken the lead. Low serve. Yeager. Committed an infraction. 23-21 in favor of Fort Lee. Caitlin Yeck will take a timeout to try to calm her team down as they really have to dig deep here. So even with that call going against John Ziemba and company, Fort Lee still with a 23-21 advantage here in the second set as they look to sweep 4 sets against Emerson and Mahwah today. The Bridgmen will next be in action on Monday, hosting Leonia here at the East Gymnasium. Sarah Wong still serving for Fort Lee. Good attempt by Oliveira, but it goes just out of play. Wong to do the honors for Fort Lee, who is looking for the match point. And there it is. Sarah Wong finishes this one off with an ace, and John Ziemba's team takes it in 2 sets against Emerson and then in 2 sets against Mahwah. 25-15 and then 25-21. A couple victories for the Fort Lee Bridgemen. They improved to 6-3 on the season. With a couple losses today, Mahwah falls 0-8. I want to thank everyone who makes these streams possible, including Fort Lee Athletic Director Michael Raftery. Want to thank you so much for tuning in early here on a Saturday. Again, Fort Lee defeats Emerson in 2 sets and then defeats Mahwah in 2 sets. My name is Tommy Aquilina saying thank you so much for joining us here at the East Gymnasium in Fort Lee. We will see you next time, everybody. Have a good one.